Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Gate 7 International, your number one English source for all things Olympiacos. Just another regular episode on a Sunday night. Nothing crazy, nothing happened last week. It was all just a dream. No, it wasn't. We did it. We bloody did it. I'm Costa with a C. I'm back in Brussels. I'm joined by Labros and Martial. Guys, what's going on? How are you feeling? I know that I'm still coming down from a massive high. I've still got my bandana on. Haven't taken it off since the game on Wednesday. How you guys doing?
Tired, obviously. That's the first word that will come out of my mouth, because a lot of people that were in the stadium went back to their place the day after the final. Like, it means hours after the final, because it was on the same day. We all had flights to take at that time, and it was like the night after was probably the best one, because you just take a shower, you just lay in your bed, and you just consider what just happened, how many times we're waiting for that, how many people you will piss off saying like you just won the European Cup, how many bad times we had to live in that show about episodes after losses in Europe, in Greek games. And that was one of the most calmest and joyful night, because you just don't need to speak, just laying on your bed, eyes open, and you just lay your mind to the work. That was the best feeling for me. Probably the biggest feeling I've had as a football fan. Bigger than France winning the World Cup twice. And I've never experienced that with Marseille, because I wasn't born when they won the Champions League. So that's the emotion we were all waiting for as a little child.
So I don't know how to follow that. That was that was pretty epic. We all three of us were in the stadium on Wednesday night, and but we were all seated in different areas. It was very strange. Like, had different experiences. I was all alone with random people that I befriended, and just the anxiety, the fear. Like, I listened to Themis Kesari's podcast on my flight back to DC, and he talked about how people were upset about the atmosphere and people not singing, and he was just like, it shows that a lot of people haven't been to cup finals, because that's kind of like how it is a lot of times. The anxiety destroys you in that state. Like, every chance missed, every chance for them, like, people feel it so hard. It's just, oh my, it's like you went through a boxing match the whole game. Like, every chance, you can't look, you can't watch, you're emotional. The emotion of the final is something else that I don't think I'll ever experience, unless Olympiacos goes back again to a final. Just the emotion of that night, that from the start, the shit show going on the metro. Congrats, Greek police, again. Fucking shit show that was, to getting into the stadium. It took 2.5 hours essentially to get into the stadium. It just was crazy. It was a crazy day, and something you'll just never forget. And there's not many ways to put words into it like what we lived. So I would say that's kind of was my experience. And Martial's right at the end. Like, it's kind of no words. There were no words to be found. There's no, like, what would you say? Like, you see, like, opposing Greek fans telling you something, but you don't really need to say anything. You don't need to say anything, and that's the best part. So, yeah, that's how I lived it.
I mean, we have to say as well, just like this whole man, it made me go back also to the beginning of this podcast too, in a way. It started in 2000, and just like fast forward almost 4 years into this initiative, and there were, all of us were there except Ari. Like Ari watched the game, I think, alone in his office. Yeah. And couldn't watch all of it because he was working, and I think he watched extra time. He was telling me it was just amazing. Like Labra, you came all the way from the US. Okay, I came from Belgium. Marshall came from France. Dimitri came from England, and we all met there. We met Costa there. We met up the night before. Just like, even just that in itself, like for the podcast, I thought was amazing. Like that we were all there. Okay, we all lived it differently, right? Like Labra, you were alone. I was with my dad. Marshall, you were in the press box with Dimitri. But like you mentioned the anxiety in the stadium. It was, I think I mentioned in the vlog at one point, I thought like the Fiorentina fans had it in the first half. Particularly, I was a little bit upset because, okay, I wasn't in the Olympiacos stand, but I was surrounded by Olympiacos fans, and we were always almost waiting for the crowd in the Pétalo, like where the Olympiacos fans were, to set the tone. There was no trumpet. It was a weird atmosphere. You kind of think, when's the last time Olympiacos played in a stadium where away fans and home fans were there and both were singing? And like, when's the last time the players played in that kind of atmosphere too? So that was really, really unique. But man, just like, I want to ask you guys, before I do, thank everybody that's like in the chat, everybody that's watched our vlog, everyone that's commented, everyone that supported us from day one, people that have joined more recently. Like, this is the biggest English-speaking community for Olympiacos fans around the world. Like just the three of us being here, like I said, where we're from is one thing, but really I want to say a big shout out to everyone that's in the, and we will open the lines later on today. But what I want to ask you guys is, how did you experience like the goal? Like, what was it like for you? Like, okay, Marshall, you were in the press box, but like, what was that for you? What was that like for you in the press box? Like, what was going on around you? Like, were you able to express yourself? Like,
Yeah, because I think I was grouped with the Greek press box. Like, it was full of Greek people around me, and everyone was like screaming, yelling, jumping when the goal was scored. So it was, I think the huge majority of journalists, apart from the Italian ones, were rooting for Olympiacos, because the whole Greek press that was in the stadium probably was for Olympiacos. Even if you have like some people that doesn't root for the club, you just get caught by the vibe, by the scenario, by the local team trying to win his first European trophy. And we celebrated with Dimitris as we were in the Olympiacos stands. Like, obviously, no one was chanting, because you just can't chant in the press box. But it was so close from the Olympiacos stand on the left that it was being in the middle of Olympiacos fans. But it was so stressful because we have like those screens, with the game on. And as soon the VAR check was on, we had the goal on replays. And when I saw the replay, I was like, okay, his arm looks like a little bit offside, and I was fearing of the goal being cancelled. But I think the emotion of the goal being given was equally the same as the goal being the first goal. You know what I mean? When the ball went in, and when the referee ended the check by giving the goal, the emotions were the same for me, because we know that people say the VAR took away some emotions, but if we're honest, it took away the enthusiasm, but it doesn't took away the emotion, because the stress the VAR gives you and the relief it gives you when the referee gives the goal. It's insane. And just look at the images of Chiquinho being like knees on the floor, cheering of the goal. Like it was amazing. And at that time, I knew we would just won the game, because how many minutes the VAR check was like 5-6 minutes, and every time the referee does not give the same amount of extra time. And Fiorentina just played like 2 or 3 balls after that, and it was done. But the emotion were insane.
I'll tell you from my side. So I think I remember clearly the Orta movement and the cross there where he was coming down for I thought that was going to be the goal. And when he sent the cross in, I thought there was a foul on the defender by Alcabi. I thought he fouled the defender. And so it was a bit strange. So I thought for a second it was going to be blown back, but then Ibora wins the header right, and it goes to Heze. And you're still kind of digesting that movement by Orta, like what just happened there. And Eze does it. We're on the edge of the seat, like everyone is on the edge. And as he sends that cross in, like it's weird. Like it's not like a cross, bang, hits the head, goes in. Like it was like it bounced, it landed out to him. Like the body was at the angle, and you were watching it and you didn't know it went in until it went in. It was like one of those, there's some goals you live and it goes in. And just the fucking outpour of emotion of people, the screams, the hugs, like I've seen so many goals in the Kati. Like I've seen a lot of goals. I fucking had not lived a goal like that, like ever in my life. And then immediately after, Fete Masto Evro, the whole stadium, like, and it was just one of the most beautiful moments like I'd ever lived in my whole life, like when that goal went in. And then when the VAR came, it was like there was a feeling like we can't be robbed of this moment. Like I thought the VAR check was for the foul, because I thought Alcabi fouled the guy on the first action. I still haven't looked at it that carefully to see what happened, but like in the stadium, it looks like there was a collision. The guy wins the ball, and then Alcabi fouls him or something, and that was that. So I had no idea they were looking at offside. I thought they were looking at the foul. So I'll tell you. So the idea. So at first, when the VAR came, we're like, we're fucked here. But the Olympiacos bench, like Fortunis and some other players started to do, like in the NBA, they're like, it counts. They're like pointing like and one. I don't know if any of you are basketball fans, but they're making like an and one, like it counts type sign. And I was looking at the bench, and the Fiorentina bench kind of like got less confident, and the Olympiacos bench. So there was this feeling like this is going to count. This is going to count. It's just a matter of time. And when it counted, like the VAR was almost like we scored a second goal. It's almost like we scored a fucking second goal, and the outpour of emotion hit again, because people thought like, oh my God. And once it counted, there was this flip, like we have to do everything to make sure we win this game. And the fans were fucking incredible. Like for the next 6 minutes, the squeals and whistles were so loud in the stadium. The Fiorentina fans were devastated. There was not a pinch of noise from them. And it was incredible moments, just fucking incredible moments completely. So that's how I lived it. So,
man, for my part, I want to say like one thing like about 2 players, because I think this is super important. Like Kini and Ibora are so important in the lead up to that goal. It's Kini that clears the ball, like boots it with his left foot. And I think it gets to Alcabi in midfield, and Alcabi opens it out to to Horta. And I remember it really clearly. I thought, they were kind of coming on to us, and it was end to end in the second half of extra time. And Kinney just makes this clearance, and you're just at that point in the game, you're just thinking, oh, please, like, come on, I don't want this to go to penalties. Like, none of us wanted it to go to penalties. Fortunis, funnily enough, on the interview he did the other day, he was like, oh, this is going to penalties and we're going to win because Tolakis is in goal. But anyway, like, I did not want to live that experience. So Kinney clears the ball, and I think, for fuck's sake, like, we've lost the ball again. And it drops to El Kabi. He opens it up to Horta. And like you, Labra, I'm thinking, this is it. Like, this is our chance. And Horta makes the cross with the inside of the foot, and it's cleared. And then, like, I think I turn around. I'm just like, for fuck's sake, like, we couldn't capitalize again. And I turn around, and then I just see the ball going into the box, and I see someone like get near the ball, and I see the ball in the back of the net, and I'm just, you're just going absolutely mental. Wow, everything around you just. I can't even describe. I lost my shit, like, so hard. I've never screamed so loud in my life. I had no voice for 2 days after. Like, my voice is still recovering. There was a lady sitting behind me, and I think she was with her husband. She was wearing a fucking green jacket. I was like, what are you doing here? Like, she's wearing a green jacket with her husband, and she was like emotionless throughout the whole game. She was hating her life. Like, she was scrolling on her phone. She was like this the entire game. And I even turned around to her and I screamed in her face, like, God, got nothing from her. But yeah, man, just like, like you said, Labrador, we really needed that goal to get the crowd involved in the game. And then, like, everyone, there was no way we were letting them take it from us. And there were some great tackles, like some last-ditch defending again from Carmo and Iborra. We had a few scares, like, before the end of the game, but there was no way, man. It's like, this game's happening in Greece, in Athens, on Greek soil, in Ajax Stadium. I said it many times before, even in, like, the quarterfinal, the semi-final. Like, this year's meant to be. We've got the right manager. He's done it before. We're going to do it again. Like, but that all goes out the window when you're there and you're watching it live. The anxiety and the experience of watching the game. But just, yeah, man, besides having a family and having kids, like, for me, that experience in the stadium is top of the top. I think we all cried. Labrador, I think I called Labrador from where I was sitting, and I was with my dad, and Labrador was bawling on the phone, like, and so was I. Like, it was beautiful, man. Beautiful stuff. Like, what can I say? Like,
I just want to say, the guy next to me, like, I had Kopoloi because I get super anxious. The guy next to me smoked like 3 packs of cigs the whole game. Like, he was so, and they'd keep announcing, like, smoking is not permitted at UEFA events. Like, he was like smoking. He was so upset, or he was so anxious. He was like shaking while smoking. It was just, I thought I was like pretty angry. That guy was, it was like he'd smoke one, like 30 seconds go by, he's like, fuck, I need another one. So it was just incredible, fucking incredible stuff.
The thing is, when we went back at halftime at 0-0, I knew something good was coming. It reminded me of the Maccabi's game when Fortuny scored that 2-0 on the counter. And some signs sometime in football does not lie, because the amount of situation Fiorentina had in the first half when the team was stressed as fuck, and you just think it's like Dortmund yesterday, that the team that misses chances in the final basically does not win it. It's and when you look, I've watched the game again because I've downloaded it on my computer to have it to rewatch it as much as I want. And the goal that El Kabi scored, apart of being the winning one, is such a nice goal. I don't think we've had strikers like that in the club. I mean, I don't want to open big debates like that, but I will do it anyway. I mean, you just can't talk to me about Mitroglou anymore. It's erased for me. I love Mitroglou. I love what he represents, but it just can't score goals like that. Costa, you know Olympiacos longer than me. I think there is like 5 strikers at best that would have scored a goal like that. The quality, the instinct El Kaabi has is
Holding the guy off on his back too, and just like it was incredible.
He scored with that part of his head, the last part of his head on a defender that was trying to clear the ball, and he just knew the ball was going there. And I mean, we all spoke about El Kaabi not being good with the ball, which is true, but we just can't let him go. I don't know. I don't care if we bring someone better than El Kaabi. I don't care if he has to be a sub, but the quality in front of the goal he has is one of the purest I have seen for a striker. And he still can improve because yes, he's quite old for a striker, but he never gets to play European football like that and before. And he probably won't score like 16th goal again in European run, but man, the instinct he has is very difficult to replace, like impossible to replace for me.
I don't remember in all the years I watched Olympiacos, I don't remember a striker that has that same kind of level of anticipation as knowing where the ball's going to be at what time, being striker that's in the right place at the right time. He's just so good at doing that. And actually, like Milenkovic had him in his pocket pretty much the whole game. Apart from that one phase of action in the 116th minute, where I think like even if you look at how much time Heze had to put the cross in, like Dodo that was playing on the right hand side, like I thought he had a pretty decent game as well.
Thought he was great,
but there was no one, like there was no pressure on Heze. Heze got the ball and okay, it's a counter press and a great interception like block from Iborra that recycles the possession and Heze's put in a nice cross. But you're right, man. Like the way he just gets in front of the defender and anticipates the bounce and gets his head in the right place and puts it into the bottom corner is incredible, man. Like I think like Mitroglou had a really good instinct of being in the right place at the right time, but he wasn't like El Kaabi's fast to react. Mitroglou wasn't that fast, like reacting in those kinds of situations. But mate, at the end of the day, the record for most goals in a season, I think it was 31, 32 goals from Alexis Alexandris, 2000, 2001. And El Kaabi's broke that record. Is the striker with the most goals in one season in the history of the club, I think. So it's incredible. And, it's not the time now to talk about his contract and what's going on, but definitely, obviously that's on everyone's minds moving forward. And you ask yourself, can he do it again next season? And is he going to be worth a €3 million contract? That's a big discussion. But
if someone like him does not worth 3 million, man, who is?
I also want to say something about El Kaabi. It's like the power and movement in the box is crazy. Like when the ball comes, the power to get into the position, like the speed and strength to get there. And also the one, like when you're in the stadium watching this, and I felt like I didn't realize this because I think I only went out to 2 other games this season and he didn't play the first one. And the other one was in Genk where it was just a shit show. But he does this thing where he's going one way, boom, plants a foot almost like a basketball player and cuts another hard and fast, like fucking hard and fast and strong. And that movement, you see so many strikers and players when they get in the box are just not fucking decisive, like they just kind of go, I'll get in a spot. But he makes the spot his own. And sometimes the ball doesn't get to that spot. There's a miscommunication, whatever. But if the ball is played properly with service, there's no one I remember better than when that ball gets delivered, the strength and power with the head and that left foot. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And, there were people swearing El Kabi next to me, like any good Greek football fan, because of his one touch and dribbling the ball. They're like, like, and they're just like, this guy's shit. He can't do it tonight because he couldn't dribble and all this shit. Like, there was one, I'm trying to remember where he went down the right and like he had one guy to beat or something, and he just didn't. And like people were just like, people are so anxious and on edge, and every lost ball is like we lost a chance at a goal, and it's just crazy. What I take from it like is this guy probably will be remembered as one of the best Olympiacos strikers, if not now. Like the guy brought a European Cup to Olympiacos, maybe the best striker of all time at the club. So that's for the history book to decide. Crazy to say someone without a cup or a title would be in that conversation for Olympiacos. But and I also want one last thing. I tried to picture what El Kabi would have done with the service of Mathieu Valbuena in his prime. Jesus Christ. Like, a lot of beautiful things could happen.
But also, I have we had the match program in the press box, and I was looking at the team sheets, the how do you call that, the game sheets, like the two lineups with the subs, and I was saying to myself, like, at the end of the season, our bench is quite interesting. Like, probably one of the best bench we had at Olympiacos since 4 or 5 years, maybe. Because just look at the bench from Fiorentina. Who would have thought in a final that Olympiacos, with like 2 or 3 years of shit show, would have a better bench than Fiorentina? And like Madi was sidelined, he could have been on the bench. And you just look at the bench. You have Jovetic coming in, you have Horta coming in, you have El Arabi is kind of done now, but the fact is coming in, like when you have to hold the ball, it's still better than the striker that went in for Fiorentina. And you have who else you had? You had even Endoy is a good solution.
Alexandropoulos was the only midfielder we had on the bench. Right? Yeah.
No, but the way we ended the season was so weird, because the bench, like even against Maccabi, when we went into extra time, I was so sure we were going to win because the bench was so clear away of Maccabi, and that's the biggest example of the quality we have had. Even in the last season, we had like tons of quality. We just needed a coach that knew how to handle a locker room, and at the end of it, it looks very easy for Mendilibar. You just give opportunities to pretty much everyone, try to create a family, and football at the end of it is a simple sport. Just look at Ancelotti at Madrid, and you think that Mendilibar is probably doing the same with the player he has. Like, not the same quality, of course, but like Jovetic basically was a super sub for the whole season. And do you see any frustration in Jovetic? Probably not. Maybe he's hiding it, but I don't feel that Jovetic is frustrated while having been a sub for the whole season. But under Mendilibar, he has a very clear role. And even El Arabi, like, never moaning in the press. Even Rezos making his mistake, not a word. And that's another European Cup for me, that the way Mendilibar handled the locker room is also a coaching lesson to every coach that passed by the club, especially the Portuguese one, some Portuguese one.
But it exposed Mendilibar exposed Martins like quite hard with that team, like that Martins had. There's this feeling like we should have gone further. I don't know. You know what I mean? Also, I want to say something about this. Like, when you look at those 2019-2020 Olympiacos team that everyone thinks was the best team, and should have gone further in Europe. The fucking bench was tragic in the European squad. It was fucking terrible. Maxi Lovera, Rangelovic. You really didn't have... Who was the backup striker even after El Arabi? I don't even think there was a backup striker on the European list. You look back at that Arsenal game, you saw Avram play, you saw Bruno Gaspar play, you saw Maxi Lovera play. Like, what is that? That does not compare to what we saw.
No, that's true.
So, you know, I don't know. It was the things came together this year that are just incredible. You know,
A lot of things, man.
a lot
Like,
of things.
like how many conversations did we have this year about like Zolaki's? Okay,
Changed
that's
this
it.
season. So Laki's changed. I looked back, you know, I was rewatching because Cosmote posted this thing about like Olympiacos' journey to the final. And Pascal Laki's like just not good enough, man. Like you watch some of the goals, you watch some of the stuff, and it's not even the goal in the end. It's like the movement or the way he parries the ball. I think of Fiorentina in the second part of extra time. He gets a shot and he parries it off to the side. Fucking Pascalakis parries it right back into the box like all the time. The guy was not good enough. Like, and Zolakis came in and changed the whole season. You can look, you can track the season change with Zolakis. So,
And that's one of the big unexpecteds of the whole season. I bet you, if you ask,
you
any
don't come
Olympiacos
here with
fan-
Pascalakis. You lose against Maccabi Tel Aviv with Pascalakis' second leg. Like, I'm so confident of it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, and it's not everyone's cheering about Zolakis and fucking brilliant. He's been brilliant, but you know,
it was an
that
upgrade.
changed that decision. He wasn't a great goalkeeper. But go ahead, Marcia.
Pascalakis was an upgrade when he came in because we were in a terrible situation, and I think Zolakis was an upgrade compared to Pascalakis. And I agree with you. Like, I don't think Pascalakis was bad, but it wasn't decisive enough to go far in Europe, like including winning it. But it means also going through Maccabi, going through Fenerbahce, going through Aston Villa. And
you need, Martial, I think we talked about this, like in Europe, to do the miracle, you need a goalkeeper to save you sometimes, or you need a goalkeeper to win the game. And Pascalakis was never good enough to win the game in Europe for me. Like, that was never what he was going to do. And if you want to make
did that with PAOK too.
Never did it with PAOK. Like, if you wanted what we just lived, like, you need a goalkeeping performance like the one in Fenerbahce, or even in the first half against Fiorentina. Some people I think are underselling it, or maybe it's not even being talked about, but the way he parries the ball is so good, man. Like, he never puts us back into danger on the rebound or the reflection and the ball distribution. Just, the guy is such a good keeper, and I don't know. He deserves a lot.
Juventus fans chiming in, man.
But I want to close by saying this. Like, I have nothing against Pascalakis personally, and his personality is nice. He's good in the locker room, but you do not win a European final with a clown jokester as a goalkeeper. Like, in my opinion, just too harsh of words, maybe, but if Pascalakis was playing, this season would never have happened. Like, and Mendy Libar made the choice, and you know, that's my opinion. I'm quite passionate on that. So,
on that note, I do. If you guys agree as well, I want to bring in fans as well.
Can we read we got some donations as well? Should we read some
I
of
do.
those?
Yeah. Do you want to read those?
I just wanted to answer that. If it's a very difficult question, the answer is not the same every time, but it's basically because I was a fan of Greece as a child, like going there with my parents. on vacation. Camping in Greece was so elite back in time, before Euros. It was the democratization of campings in Europe, and you have like massive pools, Intertoto Cup in the Taverna. And I always was a massive football fan, so it wasn't easy to follow Greek football from far. And the fact that Jebo comes from the same area gave me a perfect excuse to follow Greek football. Like I remember Panionios in the UEFA Cup against Sochaux, when he went to Panionios, then AEK, and then of course Olympiacos. I remember the game in Velodrome when he came with Fetfazidis scoring in the French TV spoke about Jebo, the fact he was coming from Grenoble and stuff. And then I became a journalist, and it was another perfect excuse to dig into that Greek passion. And I may have chose Olympiacos because it was a winning team, but I assume that choice because you don't choose to follow a team that doesn't win anything. When you don't have your father that gives you the passion, or your grandfather or someone from the family that gives you the passion from the blood, just get attracted by the biggest team in the country. And every years I'm more passionate about the Olympiacos, and the fact I went to that final like probably sealed that passion. It was the icing on the cake I was waiting for, and I was like also proud of being there because it starts from going to a random Peloponnese camping like 30 years ago probably, and to a final in Opap Arena, and it was quite a journey. And I hope it's not the end of the journey.
It's far from over, man. Martial,
I know bad emotions will come. I remember like the away section in Nantes was probably the lowest point of my life as an Olympiacos fan. The lineup was terrible.
Koundé, Bouhalakis in the midfield. So, yeah.
Avram getting sent off.
Oh man! Like
the whole stadium celebrating in front of me because it was a late goal in front of the away section. And then I went back to the city, and I was hearing everyone speaking in French, and it was so horrible.
It's like quel bordel.
Yeah. Fucking non-people, they thought they were bigger than Olympiacos at that time, and I was telling them like, yeah, you might beat us twice, but we will be in Europe next year, and you'll
be fucking relegated. Fucking pricks, man.
Yeah.
I really love that story. Like, and
those shitty crepes, man. Hold on, shitty crepes they eat. Oh, the buckwheat crepe. Like, who says that's good, man? It's terrible. And you have to, while you're eating it with the raw egg on top, you have to pretend it's tasty, man. I have a French girlfriend, as some of you know, who's also from Brittany. So
I wanna just say like Concept Calcio, one of our oldest followers. I don't mean that by age, but has been with us since the beginning. Says that Martial's story embodies Olympiacos, people being drawn to the passion and the craziness. And I know we've had a lot of new subscribers, a lot of new followers in the last week. And a few of you have asked, like, kind of, are you guys Greek? Like, why do you speak English so well? And blah, blah, blah. Why is the show in English? This show started as, friends from North America coming together during COVID to have some fun. And it grew into a big community that me from Belgium, or grown up in the UK with a Greek family, Martial from France, who has no Greek family, but as he said in his story, has a connection to Greece and was drawn to the craziness. So I think another fan mentioned that the fact that we speak in a language that's accessible to so many people outside Greece as well, and we want to try and make this club more than just a Greek club, more than a European club, to make it a global club. Labro, like, you're one of the founders, man. Like, do you want to add anything? Like, no. for people that are just joining now, like new subscribers.
Like, for people joining now, finding the page now, I guess Olympiacos, means a lot to a lot of us. I think a lot of us in this chat, and people are finding us because maybe we won the title, and things are popping up in people's feed. But Olympiacos for me, I grew up, a lot of people know the story in the chat. I grew up in Hawaii and Honolulu, far, far away from Greece. And Olympiacos meant like everything to me because it meant holding this relationship with my family, supporting the club that I loved, where my family is from. And just also the language, the Greek language. I could not have learned Greek without Olympiacos, without the journalists, without the newspapers, like learning to write, to read, listen on the radio. So Olympiacos means so much to me because it's not only a sports team, it's also taught me a language. It's taught me a way of thinking, and it teaches me, it's taught me the fact about winning and confidence and togetherness and passion. And, we started this podcast because, when you're living abroad in the US or anywhere in Europe, people don't really understand how big Olympiacos is in Greece and as well abroad. And this is a huge club with followers around the world. And another fact about that is Greek is a very difficult language. Marcial can attest to that. I can attest to that. It's my second language, not my mother language. Nene. So we started this because, so we could speak Greek, we can read Greek. And, there's a lot of these people who would like hit Google Translate or like other things. And why not us? Like, why not us bring Olympiacos to the world? And you know what? That's kind of, I feel like we've succeeded in that initial mission, and we're going to keep going. We've got interviews hopefully lined up in the summer, more things going on in the summer. So this is just the first step, and this win will, this win will do so much for Olympiacos globally. We'll always be known as a European champion. And we're one of the first teams from the non-top 5 big leagues who dominate football with their money from their nation state owners to win a title, I think in over 15 years. UEFA, like, the football is so different than any other sport because it's dominated by literally countries owning clubs. Like, we beat Aston Villa, we beat Fiorentina, we beat Fenerbahce. We did it the hard way, and no one can take that. And it's just a step. It's just a step now. Olympiacos can compete for European titles. The monkey is off the back. It's like when we've won our first away game ever. It's kind of like, we can do this. We can do this. So that's that from my side. So
Beautiful.
And I want to say I'm back here in DC and no one can fucking say my name. Every time I go to Greece and I get used to people being able to say my fucking name, and then I get on a plane and I end up in the US and I hear Lambros, how are you? There you go. Fuck, it's just like the most soul-crushing moment of your life, when you have a difficult Greek name and someone calls you Lambros or Lammy or something.
Or at least it's not lamppost.
Lamppost, at least my family put a B, MB, and not MP or
MP?
lamppost. MP would have been lamppost, but
Oh my God.
So anyway, I'll read some donations from the shop right now. From Eleftherios, we have a message. We did it, Costa Labro Marcial, Olympiacaramu, right back at you, my friend. We did it. Thank you for following us along. Thank you for the donation. Mike Scobb says, it's not a dream anymore. It's not. And that also reminds me, we need to make some new fucking songs, man. Like, there's too many songs about the European dream. There needs to be a work. I'm excited to see how that gets updated, all of those songs. Let me look. I know there's some more. Andrea Pirlo, the wine taster. He says, Kini, Ibora, El Cabi, Heze, Gracias, Senor Cordon. And Mr. Cordon did some. He got a few things right, didn't he, this summer? But how the fuck do you take us into the qualifiers with Ferreira as the central defender, man? Like, that killed you, man. Like, you should have known better. Should have known. Like, there's logic in these signings in Argentina, but he got killed by those decisions, man. That to not buy a defender. We have a donation. So thank you for the donation, and thank you, Cordon. From Manu, he says, thanks for everything, guys. Bombe Gate 7 International. Manu, all the best. Thank you for all the work you do for us. Thank you. So let me go further down. I don't want to read this message.
Stefanos.
Stefanos says, go ahead, Costa.
Stefanos, one of our patrons, says Gerasimos from the patron group asked me to relay a message to everyone. Είναι καλός ο Ρέτσος τώρα. Εντάξει είμαστε.
Μια χαρά είναι.
That one, maybe that one's more for you guys because
look.
I mean, the guy had his moments during the season, But like if he goes off in that final and Doy comes on, like I'm not sure we have that result. Like I mean, we'll never know, but Retsos had fucking unbelievable game, man.
The concussion helped him. Like he got concussed and was better. Like he wasn't thinking anymore. He was just playing. Literally, can we talk about that? From my end, it looks like he collapsed on the pitch, and I in the moment, like I was freaking out. Like I was like, oh my God, is this one of those moments where players, because they helped him up and he just, I don't know, I didn't see the replay.
He
fell over. And I was like, oh my God, they're going to bring an ambulance. Like what's happening to Retsos? Like, and when he came back on the pitch, man.
The ambulance came in on the pitch, I remember.
The stretcher came on and then they told them to go away, yeah.
They were ready for another, like, Kutris episode when you played for Ergoturis.
Yes, the fall stretcher, yeah. But how big of a failure is that? Okay, like, what an amazing performance. How big of a failure is that on UEFA and football that this guy collapsed on the pitch and they let him back on after a head injury?
Yeah.
Like, he should not have, like, it has to be said. Like, he probably should, like, if he took another hit to the head and, like, got serious brain damage, Jesus, like, it looked really bad in the stadium. I don't know how it looked on TV, but
he was playing with like he had a hematoma, like hematoma on his head. Like I think somebody told me he was watching on Paramount Plus in the US that the commentator was like commenting about the hematoma, like the bump that Retsos had on his head, like playing during the game. I don't know like how. The guy must have been absolutely possessed, like to just say like I'm not getting sub, because Doy was ready to come on, like he was on the side.
He was ready.
Yeah.
I remember there was a moment where he was ready to get on, and some guy's like Pamereskile Doy Boris, and another guy's Oki Regamoto Oki Doy Oki, like it was just the same moment. Some guy was like Boris, and like, you can do it. Come on, you dog, you can do it. And the other guy's yelling, no Doy. Like he's just having a meltdown. Like some guy was freaking out when Doy was coming on, and he was like, not Doy, please God. And then Retsos came. We were playing with like 10 men for a bit as well. And it was, I have to say about Retsos, man, though, like, I don't know, do I owe him apology? Do I? Like, Moscow, I think, like, we've been very tough on him, and that's fair. And I guess it's his first year playing football consistently in like 4 or 5 years. But some of those penalties, guys, some of those red cards, like, amazing performance in the final. And I think he mentioned this on Super Bala Live. Like, I think Mendy Libar spoke to him, and he's like, you're a fucking talented player, but you cannot be making these mistakes. You cannot be making these mistakes, you know, like, mentally, you're fantastic. I trust you, and we're going to get past this. And it was really interesting, like Retsos talking on Mega about this, but just, you need to get past the single mistake, and you'll be a fantastic defender. So,
yeah, no, you're right. It's the thing. Probably I thought about that too on the flight back, and I was saying, yeah, I might have been too harsh with Retsos, but because he has everything to be a good defender. He's not very tall, but he knows how to win headers. He's quite fast, like super fast for a center back, and he has the
He
ability
was
of
registered
passing.
as the fastest player, I think,
Yeah,
in the game,
yeah,
like according to
yeah, it's
UEFA.
true. And he knows how to pass the ball like properly. If he has a good midfield in front of him, as it was the case at the end of the season with Horta, Chiquinho, even Iborra, uh, he has everything to be a good player. But the thing is, it's very frustrating, and he did that too on the first half. Like he had 2 falls he could have avoided. He's making too much falls. That's the biggest limitation for him is avoiding to use his hands, like to elbow players, to be like 1 second late. When he is in the midfield and the striker gets the ball with his back next to Retos, every time it's a fall. You will see every time he's falling the
And he
attacker.
does it a few times, and that's when he gets the card,
Yeah, and then he will get a second yellow too many times because the first fall is always the stupidest one for me.
Yeah.
But a part of that, you said, and it's very important to have in mind is a part of the season he came into the first team at Olympiacos, and the first one in Leverkusen, he almost never had consistency. And I might have done with Retsos what I was criticizing people to do with Agibu, for example. When someone is having his first real season, you have to be patient, more patient. And I will have to apply that to myself because I blame Retsos, but he's improving. He's 25. He's old. He's quite old to improve, but he's improving. It's like he's 21 on his
It's
career.
like
You know
it's
what I
his
mean?
first proper season, man.
Yeah.
You think about
Insanely
it,
so,
like
yeah.
Yeah, it's not Freire. Uh, it's not someone that will not improve anymore because it's too old.
And I'll tell you, Retos hasn't played more than 10 games of football in a season since 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
I think I'm reading that
that's
correct.
the season before he got sold.
And yeah, that's the season he got sold to them. He played 28 games. After that, he played 1 game the next season. He played 6 games the season after, 7 if you count alone. He played, what is this? He played 4 games in France. He played a combined of like 13 games, 2021, 22, 22, 23. He played
And then
16 games for us, and then he played 45. He played 45 games. I think that's almost as many as like he did abroad after that first season at Leverkusen. Like, yeah.
I mean, he looked like the player he was when he left for me.
Yeah.
Like
At
in
the
the
final, for sure.
Yeah, in the final, he looked like the player that like we sold.
But
And is like if you were a scout watching that game, like you're looking at him, aren't you?
But it's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
injury thing. Like he was injured. How did it happen that like he was getting injured and it looked like he physically would have to retire, and then he's played like 50 games straight? Like I don't know if he changed something. You know, I know a lot of players, like if you listen to them, sometimes like they have to change the way they run because it causes knee cartilage or issues on their joints. Like I don't know. Like it would be. I don't know if he talked about it on Mega. I don't think he did, but.
No, he
What did
said he
he
didn't change anything, but I don't really believe that. It's not possible, man.
like?
He was getting
Yeah,
muscle injury every time.
I don't know what he did. There's something he had to do. Like, it makes no sense. So,
But also, it comes back to what Costa said: the fact that the fact we won that final changed the whole data for players like Retsos. Do you think Retsos will fancy a move anywhere after a season like that? No, because he's guaranteed to be a starter, but just won a European trophy. And do you think players like that will leave to go to Getafe, to I don't know, to
Mid-table
Borjo?
Spanish team.
Yeah, exactly. To quote Fortunis, but it applies
Yeah.
for France. Like someone like Retos, he played in every country. He played in Italy, in Germany, in England, in France. He won't leave the club unless someone decide to not renew him. And it's basically the same for Tsolakis. When you're a goalkeeper, you need to play, and Do you leave Olympiacos right now to go to Getafe, to Celta Vigo, to clubs like that, to even Braga? I don't really think so.
Costa, do you want to share Zoulakis, the info you have?
Yeah, I won't say where it's from, but it's from a good source, the best source probably. They think that Zoulakis needs at least another 3 seasons at Olympiacos before he makes a move. So he's staying. I know that there was reports as well today from Sport 24 that he apparently has told potential suitors like other clubs that he's renewing with Olympiacos. So there's no go. He's staying. But I've heard from very good source that he's staying. He wants to stay, and he's not looking to move anytime soon. Like, they still think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I think we all agree like he's improved massively. A couple of people mentioned in the chat like it was never a question of talent or work ethic. Anybody that's watched our interview with Jose Jolebas will remember what he said. That it's one of the most underrated, or the most underrated player that he came across at the club in all his years. And yeah, like, props to the guy, man. He keeps his mouth shut, keeps his head down. Like, a few months ago, it looked like he was leaving. He got his opportunity, he took it, and I'm really like, man, the way he is with the ball at his feet, the ability to pass with both feet, his left foot, his right foot, didn't appear to have any nerves in the final. Like, for somebody so young, like, the occasion can get the better of you, but he was there. He was there every time he was called on in the final. He made big saves, man. In all like our run to the final, he's massive. He's absolutely massive, and it makes me really happy that it's a player that's come through our system. It's taken a long time, but it's a keeper as well, right? How old is he? Is he 21? 21 now, huh? Like,
Also, we won a final with like 3 homegrown players as starters, and yet you will find a lot of people saying like, yeah, we buy too many foreigners, which is true. Olympiacos is a mercenary club, which isn't true, and we have to also value that, because that balance in the team, that was the key to have more signings in January to be included in the list. Like, we didn't have to erase players from the list. Like, I mean, I don't know how much homegrown players Fiorentina had, for example.
Biragi, the captain, maybe
You will see a lot of people, even abroad. Like, when I'm in France, for example, and I say, I love Olympiacos to people, and they told me like, yeah, you have all washed celebrities that goes to the club, which is part of the truth. But who knows that, for example, Zoulakis was made at the club, like Retsos was made at the club and he came back, that Fortunis was made at the club, he left and he came back too. It's also part, if we were like a big league club, everyone would be speaking about Zoulakis nowadays, like the good story of the kid that was the bench warmer and became the starter in the middle of the season. And that's something that pisses me off at the point, but also it's the biggest advantage we can have, because you just put Zoulakis in a French club, for example, that wins the Conference League, and you just lose him because he's going to sign with fucking Bayern, with I don't know which club, but we have no hype at the moment, apart of the fans, the celebrations of the victory, what I mean, the videos with the flares that went across the world, and we have no real hype around those players, and that's why it's quite easy to keep him, and we need to benefit from that.
Yeah, another year or two. Like, also, I think maybe soon he'll be starting to compete for like the number 1 position for the Greek national team at goalkeeper as well. Like, why not?
I won't be surprised if he starts in these friendlies now.
Yeah.
Vlachodimos hasn't been playing, man.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing, so he kind of made career suicide. So I don't know. To me, Marcial's so right, and I know people are bringing up, but like, also Ibora, like, there's a few change made. Ibora and Zoulakis he's changed the freaking season. In the league, when Iborra didn't play, this team looked completely useless. Iborra in the outfield was the key to the team. Like, Heze was fantastic. Chiquinho was great. El Cabi scored the goals. Fortunis, Podence, yes.
It was different, man, in the big games. In the big games,
but
you wanted
he
Iborra on the pitch.
unlocked all of these guys, you know? And our defense looks so shit sometimes. And for years, 2 years almost looked so shit because you didn't have that player. When Iborra was getting on the ball in the final, anytime he touched the ball in the final, you could like relax. Or if he was there, he'd come in and make a tackle. Just incredible calmness, incredible command of the game. He calmed the defenders down too.
It's like having a manager on the pitch.
I don't know how you replace that. I don't know how you place him leaving.
I just went onto WhatsApp to find old messages about Iborra, and on July the 8th, I wrote this. Iborra reminds me of Valbuena when he came. Class is something you have or you don't, and Ibo Goat seems to have it. And
No,
I
remember.
I was meaning that both in terms of a football player and physically. You know,
the guy's won 4 Europa Leagues, man. Like he's not nobody. You can't be nobody like when you've won 4.
And I just want to quote Costa's reply. You said, remember when we signed some 33 years old called Pablo Orbaiz from Atletico, the Vinicius friend of Ernesto? ? People reaction remind me of that a lot.
But he was finished at the January, man. People were just like, he's not going to work out. He's done. Like, he needs to leave. And he himself was just like, screw it, I'll stay until the end. And it just needed that unlocking. And I don't know how you replace it. Like, I don't know how you replace it. Like, how we get a new Iborra. Like, he almost just... Yeah, I don't know how you replace it. It's going to be so difficult. And I don't know. I think he's really...
go back to Levante, man.
He wants to. Yeah. Like he said, he wants to finish his career there. Even like before he came, he said, "I'm coming back, like to finish my career." But I don't know. Like,
what is Levante, man? You just won a European. Like, stay one more season to be a backup, man. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stay one more year to be useful and play like, do you have to go back to Levante now, man? Like, please, like, just if he could stay to play some derbies, play some games now that we know how to use him. And we tried to sign, like, I heard this name, Aris dropped it like perfectly timing. This guy, Dani Garcia. I don't know anything about Dani Garcia, but we need to, like, that is, Darko Kovacevic has some problems for sure. Also, we're going to learn how good of a sports director he is as well this summer. It's to sign these loan players and find a 6, man. Find a 6. You know,
that's it. But you need a serial winner where you just like, I don't think like I want us to, we're not going to have this discussion today about like what we need and who's staying and who's going, because like, okay, we've been going on an hour as well. And I did want to bring fans on. And there's no more games now. So we've got plenty to talk about when it comes to the ins and outs, etc. But definitely like, I mean, the guy, you need a player with that experience, like, and that's the thing that you can't replace. Like, I think in both on and off the pitch, his influence was so important, and probably just like in the lead up to the game, having a player that's been there. Like, you look at the squad, how many players have played in a final in our squad? No one's played at that level. Only him. It's only him that's been to a European Cup final with Seville, was it with Seville? Yeah. With
even some of our players haven't played a fucking Greek Cup final in a long time. Yeah. If you think about it, the last one we lost was with Martins when he was playing Jolebas at San. What a dumbass!
Look at the guys won 5 European
Cups scoring
with Keen Martins at the end. Fucking idiot.
Anyway, there is one comment because I want to give some information since okay, two things that I can share for fans about one, youth team, and two, there was a question about Hesse earlier about his value. What I can say is that I spoke to people at the club the night before the game, and I was told if Madi Camara asking price was around 20 million euro, how much do you think we're going to be asking for Hesse? Was one thing that was said to me. My understanding is that he is not in a rush to leave as well. He has a couple of years left on contract. So, if a massive bid comes in above 20, we see, but the player's not exactly going to be pushing the team to let him go as far as I'm aware. And with regards to youth team, perfect opportunity to remind people that we're the only club in the history of European competition to win 2 UEFA competitions in the same season. That is really remarkable. Yeah, the Youth League and the Conference League, that's really something amazing. Okay, Conference League only been around 3 years, but still, that's a record in itself that we can all be proud of, something extra to be proud of. There are 4 youth players that are going to come up, I've been told, for pre-season. Isidoros Koutsidis, the centre-back, the central midfielder Christos Mouzakidis, the winger Papakanelos, and Babis Kostoulas. Those 4 players going to be at pre-season from the youth team. So that's something to look forward to, something that I can share for those of you that are watching. A bunch of you, over 500, around 600 in the chat right now. If you haven't liked, takes 1 second, hit the like button. It helps us to find more Olympiacos fans around the world, help us to keep growing the community. We're over 4,800 subs right now and getting closer and closer to 5K. Subscribe, tell your yaya, tell papu, tell your cousins. Join the Gate 7 International community. Join the Red and White Sickness. Tinarostia Maspadu. Yeah. Shall we open the lines a bit?
Yeah. I also want to say something about the
before you do Labro,
just
letting everyone know, I'm dropping the link in the chat. Whoever wants to come on, say hello. That's going in the chat now.
Can I say something? Like watching that Champions League final last night, and it felt so lifeless. Like the complete corporatization of football at that level. Like the football is beautiful. We all enjoy it, but the Champions League, you watch it and you watch that final and it was completely lifeless. Like there was no emotion. The fans were not living. It's like not the football you remember. Like I feel like you recognize football in the past more from how do you say, like from the Europa League and from the Conference League, because seriously, like it was just it was so weird when Real Madrid won the final and like people were not even celebrating. And then you had this guy Bellingham come and like with a corporate trained communications PR like interview. It was so freaking weird. I don't know. The emotion of football was just like changed so much at that level, at the highest end, and it's just like a bit depressing. So anyway,
I'm just jumping onto that to say goodbye. I'm heading to bed to try to recover from that crazy week. I just need to
recover. Me and Marcia lived craziness.
Yeah, it's part of the memory I will never forget. Like
slept for 45 minutes.
The day before with Costa, when we went to take the picture with the cup, the day after when we went back to Lambros' place, it's insane. It's in my heart. It's my trophy.
On mute, Costa.
My leg is. I didn't fucking sleep. Like we got to Karaiskaki We got to Karaiskaki at 3:30 from the stadium, and then like I couldn't find the taxi. I had a flight to take at 7:30. I had to get home. I like somehow found the taxi. Taxi guy stopped with 2 people in the car and took me and my dad. And I just gave him a 20, like a ride from Karaiskaki to Falli. I was like, here, take a 20. Like we walked home, and then half an hour later at 5:15, I jumped in the car and I drove to the airport. And dude, I'm still like we're all still like recovering, man. From
mentally, physically, yeah.
Well, see you on the next time, guys.
See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bonne
ya.
nuit. Ciao.
Bonne nuit.
When we
All right, should we bring on first guest?
go ahead, Costa, you got it.
Yeah. This is BB on the username. What's going on?
Hey,
Hey.
man.
What's your name? Where you come from?
I'm Bartek. I'm from Poland.
Oh, I
Bartek
can't hear
from
you
Poland.
super. Can you hear? I can't hear super well.
The microphone's not great, but I heard this is Bartek.
There
Bartek
we go.
from Poland. Oh,
Nice to
Bartek
meet you,
from
man.
Poland. What's up? Nice to meet you.
yes, nice to meet you too.
Tell us.
You're an Olympiacos fan from Poland. Like, what's your connection to Olympiacos?
It was after we or earlier we yes. It was before we sing Lomano Lualua.
Oh,
Okay.
First
You okay?
season we play with Gajetti, Kovacevic, and Lualua, and I think it starts there, yeah. And then
but you have Greek family or what?
no. I'm from Poland and I have no connection with Greece, yeah. But it's like
But we had some Polish players that played for the club too, like Michał Zewlakov comes to mind. There were ones Juszkowiak, I want to say, was a Polish player as well, striker. We had there have been some Polish players that come through the club.
yes, it was Marcin
Kuźba.
Juszkowiak, Żewłaków, Kuźba. Yes, it was couple players.
Mm.
And how are you feeling after the final, man? Like, you're an adopted Olympiacos fan.
Yes, it was great, yeah, to see that we win. It was dream came true, but the dream you never dream really.
is definitely Karbovnik. Karbovnik was another one that we had. Polish players with it, other Polish players. If anyone in the chat can think.
Yes, and I think there was also one Karbovnik. Yes, and also one goalkeeper Jacek.
Oh God, I remember the one you're talking about, but that was a while ago.
Goalkeeper Jacek Kazimierski, something like that. He played in the past, yeah. Yes, but when we talk about this final, what is amazing for me about the final that I will be honest. I never expect that we will win against the first games against Maccabi. I didn't believe.
Yeah, but we did it. No, not a lot of people believed, but in football anything can happen, and I think that's what the manager said to the players too. You go out there and you play. Go out there and play.
Yes,
That's great. Do you want to say something to the Olympiacos community that's tuning in right now? What message do you have
Mm, yeah,
as a Polish person living
as,
in Poland, no connection to Greece?
yes, as a Polish fan, I want to say two things. Uh,
Go.
uh, 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 Two things. First, it was just amazing. You can achieve something. Especially, I remember Valverde time and other coaches time, and we play good, but it's always about a little luck. So we can go to the knockout stage, but then it's like we need luck. But under Mendilibar, we have the plan for the whole game, and we believe that we can win. Yeah, if we even watch first game against Maccabi, we see that we locked them for time. Okay, we made the mistakes and we lost for one, but in second game we just destroyed them. We smashed Aston Villa, and in the final we have also the plan with pressing and stuff like that. So I believe that Mendy Bar, not like one of you talked a couple episodes ago, that Mendy Bar can change the Greek football because of that. And second thing, what is for me very angry, that you have Champions League final, Europa League final, and you have in media whole program about how great Xabi Alonso is and Bayer Leverkusen or Atalanta, Gasperini, or Real Madrid, Ancelotti or Borussia Dortmund, but there's no program about Olympiacos. Why for me it's important? Because everybody say that Super League is bad because it's also Real against Barcelona, City against United, and stuff like that. But you have the great story of Olympiacos. You just show everybody, fans, this great story of came back from free home deficit, yeah, El Kaibi's story, Fortuni's story, twice he turned his ACL, yeah, Red Sox and stuff like that, and of course winning. And there's no program about it in Polish television sport on YouTube or any other. It's like, okay, Mendy Bar again win, but that's all. Yeah, it's nothing. So that's angry me the most because Olympiacos, yes, it's a big club, not as big as others, but just give us respect. Yeah, a little.
Amen. Dziękuję bardzo. That thank you in Polish. Thank you, Bartek, for joining the show.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for supporting. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. I had some former Polish colleagues actually texting me before the game and the day before, like wishing me luck. And Poland's flag is also red and white as well. Something one of my friends reminded me is like, where all of Poland is with you after all, our flag is red and white. So big ups to Poland and Bartek tuning in. Like, no relation to Greece. Just goes to show, guys, like, fucking like Olympiacos is everywhere.
Yeah. Honestly, there were so many people in that, like, going to the metro, that craziness, where you realize there's people from all over and with different backgrounds going. Like, my friends that you met from Philadelphia came for like 3 days from Philadelphia. I was thinking their dad is a huge Olympiacos fan. Like, this guy is huge. Like, we spent Easter together and just crazy stories. And I wish he was able to be there at the stadium to experience what we experienced, because my God, we talked so much about the games with Aston Villa. It was before the Villa games, how it's going to go. Or it was after the 4-2 Easter was. And it was just so many people who couldn't come from all over the world. Like, there was like 15, 20 guys there in a Easter party in Philadelphia who were like big Olympiacos fans. And, it just, it just meant so much to so many people around the world. And then, just for it all to come back, means so much,
Yeah,
So,
man.
I don't know. My mind is racing now about the opportunities now. Like, okay, now that we've spoken about the game a bit, I kind of want to say like it's not like Euro 2004 maybe it is, in that this is a fucking golden opportunity to push the club even higher. You know what I mean? Do you agree with that, Corsa? Like, this is like, everyone needs to relax. Everyone needs to see what we've done. This is incredible. But we have a golden opportunity here to just blow it away and expand the club's reputation and performance in Europe. Like, with this monkey off our back, reputational boost, signings, Darko Kovacevic, like, I don't know what he did in January and which signings were his, but together with Mendilibar, the chairman, like, this is a golden opportunity that I hope we do not blow. And this is also a club that hasn't won the title in 2 seasons, if I'm correct. Costa, is that right?
Yeah, 2 seasons. Balkan Aik this last season.
So it's time for Olympiacos, to win a title, to win a Greek Cup, to do a double, and to bring in new players. So I just hope that's what they do.
I mean, I think, broadly we can say that it's an incredible opportunity and actually an unprecedented situation that the club are in terms of the reputation that we have now and the attractiveness of coming to Olympiacos, a team that's won a European competition, playing in the group stages of the Europa League, no qualifiers. It's a completely different proposition, a completely different negotiating strategy that you have going into talks with players. You attract a completely different pool of players than what we've been used to over the last couple of years. Even the Greek Super League, man. Okay, we can talk about the Greek Super League. We can talk about EPO. We can talk about the refs, and all of that stuff is true. All the shit that comes with the Greek league, but it went down to the wire, and players that are on the outside, they look at it and it's like, okay, Olympiacos hasn't won the league for 2 years, 2 seasons, but they won the European competitions. I can go there and we can, play for glory in the league and to do well in Europe again. So I think I'm very curious. We're all very curious to see how the club handles it going into the summer with so much time. I think obviously a lot will depend on what like sales too. Like, we have to balance the books. We have to see out of this squad who stays. We managed to keep Bedens. We managed to keep Carmo. We don't know yet. I think priority right now is with keeping the players that we have in the squad now.
Yeah.
And then we see. I think, yeah, definitely. If Ibora leaves, then we definitely need a 6. Like a top number 6. And the other thing I'll say, what I've learned about Kovacevic is he's not really one that's going to take the lead when it comes to players, like identifying players. He's more of a sports director that's good in the dressing room, talking to the players, like conveying his experience. So as far as I'm aware from some conversations I had, he's not heavily involved in recruitment, is what I've heard.
So then who does the recruitment? I don't understand.
The scouting department.
I'm really worried that what the players we got in January came via one path, and that path is now gone. And who is going to bring players?
Like, if you're talking about Alves, Garebe doesn't have any involvement in recruitment.
But Alves
did not want David Carmo. So, neither did Carvajal. Neither of them wanted Carmo.
So now, but what I'm wondering though is just, There's a
And Chiquinho, they wanted for summer. It was one of our scouts that pushed for Chiquinho to come now in January, and apparently
Anyway.
they'd been watching Chiquinho for a year, like almost over a year, in the scouting department as a player to come in and like replace Guillermo type.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see the thing is, the base is there. You put the team together, right? I'm loving this. We're seeing a Polish conversation in the chat back and forth. Gate 7 International. There you go. Connecting Polish Olympiacos fans in the chat. It's not complicated, this team, right? Like, if you bring back you bring back Horta, you keep Eze, you try to keep Podence, you try to keep Carmo. And then if you do that, what do you need essentially? You need a striker. You need maybe 2 strikers, 1 or 2. So Costa, let's just say, like, you need 1 or 2 strikers. Let's say you get Costulas and you get a Bam. Let's say you get a big striker. And then you keep Podence. At that point, you have Fortunis, Podence, Gelson Martins. You need one more winger. You need one more winger, maybe.
You need to figure out the striker situation. El Kabi stays or whatever. I think the most important signing for me this summer is David Carmo replacement, and then a 6, like those 2 signings. I would start from the back. Well, like those for me, because Carmo, like looking at it, is the hardest one to keep, and then Iborra, because he wants to go back. We'll see. And those are the priorities for me.
I think if you keep Carmo, which will be very difficult, you need 1 more central defender, and you're kind of done. Can we say that? Nelson Abbey was fantastic.
He looks very good.
You need a strong right footer. That's going to be a key addition. And then you have
Retsos, you have Kalogeropoulos coming back, you have Koutsidis coming up.
Exactly.
So, like, on the right side of defense, you're good. You need, like,
it's the decision of the coach. Do you want another strong right center back to go with Retsos? Do you want to challenge Retsos, or you trust him to be your number 1 central defender? And
it's the left-footed centre back that you want, though, because
because Nelson Abbey is left-footed, man. So
but I rate Nelson Abbey, but I'm not sure about like a Nelson Abbey Retsos partnership, because they're both young.
And they're both poor in the air. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah.
No, mate. Retsos,
or know what I mean? Like, they're not 6'4", 6'5". David Carmo. Has David Carmo ever lost a header? Like, I don't think he's ever lost a header. It's
that's it, right? It's like he's not the towering centre back. It's like it's interesting actually. Like, you think of towering centre backs, and like David Carmo's got a bit of a like Siovas profile. Like, I'm not saying like he's better or he's worse, like not comparing them, but like they're both like very tall, technically gifted, like good on the ball, good distribution. And it was interesting when I interviewed Omar El Abdellaoui the other day. Shameless plug, if you guys haven't checked out that interview, we interviewed Omar El Abdellaoui the week before, or like days before the game, the final. I asked Omar to tell me his best starting 11 at Olympiacos, all the players that he played with over the 6 seasons he was with us, and one of the centre backs he chose was Dimitris Siovas. So that, you want that kind of player. I agree. Like, Nelson Abbey, I rate him, but I don't think he's. So I'd like him to be like our 3rd centre back, if that makes sense.
Nelson Abbey and Retsos, when you're playing high up against a mid-tier Greek side, is just like the ball playing ability, the unlocking ability is fantastic. But like, when you go into a derby and it's scrappy, and you may have, I think PAOK is looking to sign that Croatian massive striker Petkovic. Do you remember that guy from the? Like one of those profiles that they want to get. Personally, I sell Doi this summer. I really think it's time to go for Doi. I think how do you say? It's like up or out. It's like a consulting firm. It's up or out. And for me, Doi is not going up. It's time to go out. You know what I mean? Like, it's time for another young player to take that role, because for Doi, it's out at this point for me. So maybe you keep him for a preseason, but yeah.
He's a sellable asset. Like, he's young.
Yes, exactly.
If we get a decent offer, like with like a percentage, then why not? Because you've got Koutsilis and you've got
You need to do
Caluero
the
coming
Nicolau
back.
deal. You need to do
Yeah.
Olympiacos needs to realize selling a youngster for 3 to 3.5 million and putting like 15 to 20% sell-on fee. See, this is the thing with Yorgos is asking. You think people are stupid enough to spend money on Doi? Fuck yes, people will spend $3 to $4 million euros for Doi. I promise you that, Mark. There is someone who will have watched Doi, seen that he's 20 years old, played for Olympiacos, and say, we'll throw 3 to 4 million at Doi. Maybe we see him as a 6. Maybe we see him as a defender and we can work with him. You guys need to, like, if you're a mid-table Serie A side, like, these are where you make this is where you make it, like, as one of these clubs, you know, like when you can spend 3 to 4 for a 21, 22-year-old and you think, okay, we can make something here. That's what you do. So I think there's a side in Germany, in Italy, that will give 3 to 4 million and a percent for Doi. I'm pretty sure of it. So, anyway, we have a big, literally, we cannot have these conversations because of we haven't even got into Yorgos Masouras. We haven't even touched that.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
We need another episode. This was not the episode for that. So we're at an hour and a half now.
I can say about the left back, Doran Leidner's going to play in the Olympics, as I understand. So I think that's really good for him. I think a lot of people forget that he's one of our players. I was really pleased to see him like celebrating with the team out on the field and then on the bus. Don't know if that's like, you know, some kind of message also as well, because he's played in the B team. He's coming back from an ACL injury. He's a young player, super talented. Data is fantastic. And Omar Richards is leaving. Like, Keeney's on a 1-year contract too. And, you know, we've got Francisco Ortega and Apostolopoulos that came out of nowhere, essentially, at left back. And, you know, Ortega's a sellable asset as well. So, you know, left back might be something that we're looking for.
Tsimikas available on the market.
There are some crazy rumors kind of going around. My dad keeps telling me, I don't know, but
is that real? I just made that up. Is that real?
I don't know. Like, I don't
literally
know, man.
Can I say something about this guy? Like,
yeah, you don't like him. You don't like Tsitsipas either.
No. I want to say something about Tsimikas, man. He posted like one story. He didn't come to the stadium. You have guys like Omar Lebdalawi coming from, like, he's playing a season of football, coming and flying. You have Guilherme flying 6.5 hours from Doha to come see Olympiacos, and you can't even bring your fucking ass to go see Olympiacos playing.
Did he post anything? Like,
I don't even think he posted anything. It says it all, man. For me, like, he's almost like Pedro Martins. Like, the lack of noise is shocking. Like, maybe he was too busy posting his like Lamborghini or something. Like, it's just a real shame, man. Like, what? This is the club that made you who you are and got you a move to Liverpool. I know it hasn't worked out and you ride the bench real hard, but like, maybe something to post. And maybe you flopped really hard when Greece needed you to go to the Euros, but like, you can at least show some respect, you know. I don't know. It's disappointing. I'm really disappointed. He's a Greek player that Olympiacos made, and he didn't even show up to the final, didn't post anything, or he may have posted something in passing. Like, it's just a bit disappointing for me. Like, you have people who traveled 6-7 hours, like former players. You had fucking Hassan show up, man. Like,
why wouldn't he, man? Hassan's almost.
I know.
Hassan's almost club legends, man. Like the goals that he scored.
There's some sort of story with Tsimikas. I don't know what the fuck happened, but something must have happened, I think.
Got too big for his boots.
Well, he's flopped pretty hard now. Like now that
I
Jurgen
wouldn't
Klopp's
say
gone.
like he's flopped.
He's not flopped, but he's never
I think he's
taken
where
it.
he wants to be. Like he's happy, like he's happy playing for a massive club. He's with a huge following, like globally. Liverpool's a massive club, man. Like he's like I like it here. He's like Greek Scouser, blah blah blah. But like the thing for me with Tsimikas is that I would like to see him go to a club and play. Like be the starting left back. Like there's a little bit of a lack of ambition for me, which maybe says a thing or two about his priorities, but that's a different conversation. Yeah. If there's any talk about him coming back, I hope that his head's in the right place and that he wants to play football. Not be a model, not post about his dogs or just like come here and play football, man. Like everyone knows how serious we are. And demanding we are as a fan base and how quickly fans can change their opinions in Greece. So anyway,
that would be like a Podense summer signing from. I just don't see it. I also, to be honest with you, I don't really want to see Kostas Tsimikas. Like I think I don't know. It was just like if I was Kostas Tsimikas, like if you were a kid made from the academy, came to Olympiacos, the club invited you to come, and you didn't come. Like this is a European final for the club that made you. Your best friends are on that pitch, like Retsos, Fortounis, Zoulakis, who he has to have feelings. Like it says a lot. Like, and whatever. He didn't play for the Greek national team this friendly stretch as well. Maybe he's on holiday somewhere. I
didn't see that.
But anyway,
maybe he did share something. So.
I wouldn't be opposed to this as well. He had a good He had a good little season. So I don't.
Yeah,
I always preferred him as well. Say that quietly.
Thanks.
Okay. I think that's it, man. We're an hour 40 minutes. What else?
We can keep this show going, but I do need to go to bed as well. I'm traveling tomorrow.
I'm done. I'm done as well. I got things to do. It's late. It's getting later in the evening. I gotta do some things before work.
It's midnight Central European time, 1:00 in Greece. Was it 6:15 over there now, or
6?
It's
about
6.
To turn 6.
6 p.m. US Eastern time. I think it's 8:00 Australia, Melbourne. People in Melbourne are waking up. Olympiacos fans everywhere. Guys, we're gonna call it a night tonight. Finish it. Thank you so much for all the support, all the love. We're riding on this huge wave of euphoria, happiness, joy, pride, and just pure adrenaline the last few days. There are so many videos out there, so much content. We really appreciate you coming here on your Sunday night, joining us here at Gate 7 International. Big love to all the community, all the subscribers and followers that have been with us throughout this journey, all the new ones that have joined us more recently. Thank you so much. Labro, anything else to add before we
No, this is not it. This is not the end. Like, this is not the fairy tale ending. This is, like, I think the chairman said, this is the first step. And we're going to hold him to that because, Olympiacos, this is what this club has missed for so long. But let's not also forget, it has been 2.5, 3 years of fucking pain and difficulty that we have suffered through domestically. It is time for Olympiacos also to rise up again and become that dominant power in Greece and push on in Europe again. It's time to bring this club back from what the travesty that was before Mendilibar. Like, this is the platform to build something very special. And we will be watching, we'll be reporting on it for you, and we'll be covering it so you can make your opinions as well. But this is not the end. This is the opportunity to launch Olympiacos. And it has been too long since we've won a domestic title for this club. And we need to take advantage of it. And this summer is huge. Like, this is, again, like a Euro 2004 you can build the base blocks of a team for now into the future. And we're going to help support the club do that. I hope we're going to have some people from the club come on and speak to us at some point this summer. So keep your eyes out for that.
Working on it.
We're working on it. So
working on it. Keep it locked. Don't forget to like before you leave. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Gate 7 International, the world's largest Olympiacos community in English, for you, by the fans, for the fans. Check out the vlog from the final. If you haven't done it already, you can go and check out the vlog. It's available on our channel. The Omar El Abdellaoui interview as well. Send us an email, send us messages on socials. Any ideas you guys have, discussions or topics that you'd like us to cover. You can follow us on Instagram, on Twitter. You can join the Patreon community as well. 3 different categories. For $1 a month, you can join the WhatsApp community. It's growing every day. It's a fantastic community there. And $5 a month, you get premium content, extra content, early access to interviews as well. And for $10 a month, you can get access to merchandise. So with a $10 a month, you get a hat or something else from the shop. You can check out the shop actually in the description, in the link description below, www.gate7intl.com. You go on our website, you go to merchandise, and you click through there. Patreon also in the description, patreon.com/gate7international. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We're Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. We'll see you again next time.
Hello, Fradi.
Kati, Magiko! O Pumba, Jesse, Dame Padago,